John sat in the dimly lit attic, dust motes dancing in the slanting sunlight. Before him lay his late grandfather's old record player, a relic from the 1970s that had once filled the house with the sounds of vinyl classics. Memories of Saturday mornings spent listening to Elvis and the Beatles washed over him as he carefully examined the device. Determined to bring the past back to life, John fetched his toolbox. His hands, though aged, moved with practiced precision, tightening screws and cleaning each delicate part. The neighborhood below, a tight-knit community in Willow Creek, was abuzz that afternoon. Kids rode their BMX bikes down the streets, and neighbors chatted over white picket fences, reminiscing about the good old days. As evening approached, John placed the last piece and plugged in the record player. A soft crackle filled the room before the familiar melodies of Hotel California began to play. He smiled, recalling how his grandfather used to host neighborhood gatherings where everyone would dance and sing along. Word of John's restoration project spread quickly. Curious neighbors began to gather at his house, drawn by the nostalgic tunes. Mrs. Thompson brought over her famous apple pie, while young Mike set up his portable speakers. Children ran around, laughing and enjoying the music that had once united their parents. As the sun set, the front yard transformed into a lively gathering spot. Stories were shared, old dances were remembered, and new friendships were forged under the glow of string lights. John watched as the music bridged generations, bringing together young and old in a celebration of shared history. In that moment, the record player was more than just a machine. It was a symbol of community and continuity. John realized that by restoring his grandfather's cherished possession, he had reignited the spirit of togetherness that defined Willow Creek in the 70s and 80s. The night was filled with laughter, music, and the timeless joy of neighbors reconnecting, proving that some things, like good music and strong bonds, never truly fade away. As midnight approached, the energy in John's front yard showed no signs of dwindling. The music had shifted seamlessly from classic rock to soulful ballads, inviting stories and heartfelt conversations. Mr. Davis, the retired schoolteacher, began sharing tales of his students' antics, while young Emily and Sarah giggled over their parents' dance moves from the past. The air was thick with nostalgia and the promise of new memories being made. John noticed old friendships rekindling. Tom and Jerry, neighbors who had drifted apart over the years, found themselves laughing together once more, reminiscing about childhood escapades. The simple act of fixing a record player had opened a door to healing and reconnection that many hadn't realized was needed. It was more than just an evening of music. It was a reaffirmation of the community's foundation. As he wandered through the gathering, John felt a profound sense of accomplishment. The restoration project had started as a tribute to his grandfather, but it had evolved into something much greater. He saw the younger generation learning about the past, while the older members felt appreciated and remembered. The blending of ages created a rich tapestry of experiences, each thread strengthening the community's bond. Under the canopy of twinkling lights, John found himself talking to his teenage grandson, Alex. "Grandpa always loved music," Alex said, eyes wide with curiosity. John nodded, sharing stories of his grandfather's influence and the importance of preserving such memories. The conversation highlighted the bridge between generations, emphasizing how shared histories can guide and inspire the future. As the night drew to a close, the final notes of the record player echoed softly in the cool night air. Neighbors lingered, reluctant to let go of the newfound sense of unity. John stood at the edge of the crowd, watching as people exchanged hugs and promises to gather again. He realized that the record player had not only revived old songs, but had also awakened the community's spirit. Walking back into the house, John felt a deep gratitude. The attic, once a forgotten space, had become the heart of Willow Creek that evening. He looked around, seeing the joyful faces illuminated by the fading light, and understood that some legacies endure not through objects, but through the connections they foster. In restoring his grandfather's record player, John had preserved a piece of history while creating a living, breathing moment of togetherness that would resonate long after the last vinyl spun its final track. As dawn's first light began to seep into the sky, the remnants of the night's celebration lingered in the cool morning air. John stood silently, watching the sunrise reflect on the dew-kissed grass, contemplating the evening's impact. He realized that the record player had served as a catalyst, transforming not just the atmosphere, but also the underlying dynamics of Willow Creek. In the days that followed, the change in the community was palpable. Neighbors who had once exchanged brief pleasantries now took the time to engage in meaningful conversations. The shared experience under the twinkling lights had ignited a collective desire to preserve and cherish their town's heritage. Inspired by the success of the evening, John organized regular gatherings, each centered around different aspects of the community's history and culture. One afternoon, as John worked on another restoration project in the attic, he discovered a stack of old photographs and letters hidden behind the floorboards. These artifacts belonged to his grandfather, filled with stories of Willow Creek's early days. Determined to unearth more, John collaborated with Mrs. Thompson, the local librarian, to create an archive that would be accessible to everyone. This initiative not only preserved personal histories, but also fostered a deeper appreciation for the town's evolution. Meanwhile, the younger generation began to take a more active role. Alex, inspired by his grandfather's legacy, started a blog documenting the town's stories and the ongoing restoration projects. His enthusiasm bridged the gap between ages, encouraging others to contribute their memories and ideas. The synergy between the old and the young generated a vibrant energy, propelling Willow Creek towards a future that respected its past. However, not everyone was immediately receptive. A faction of residents, wary of change, voiced concerns about the rapid shift in the community's focus. They feared that the emphasis on nostalgia might overshadow the present's needs. John faced the challenge of addressing these fears, striving to balance honoring tradition with embracing progress. Through open forums and heartfelt discussions, he emphasized that preserving history was not about stagnation, but about building a stronger, more informed foundation for growth. The tension reached its peak during a town meeting where emotions ran high, voices clashed, and the room seemed to teeter on the brink of division. Sensing the fragility of the moment, John stood and shared his vision. A community united by its past, empowered to create a vibrant future together. He recounted the night under the twinkling lights, reminding everyone of the connections rekindled and the friendships restored. His words resonated, bridging the divide and inspiring a collective commitment to move forward as one. As consensus emerged, the town embraced a renewed sense of purpose. Projects flourished, each reflecting the diverse talents and passions of Willow Creek's residents. The record player remained a symbol of unity, its melodies a testament to the power of shared experiences. John watched as his vision unfolded, grateful for the legacy he helped preserve and the community he helped strengthen. In Willow Creek, the past and present coexisted harmoniously, each enriching the other, ensuring that the spirit of togetherness would endure for generations to come. Spring unfolded in Willow Creek with an air of optimism. The community's projects, inspired by shared histories and collective creativity, began to bear fruit. The old library was refurbished into a vibrant cultural center, hosting art exhibits and storytelling sessions that drew visitors from neighboring towns. The once neglected town square now featured a beautifully restored fountain, surrounded by gardens that residents tended together, symbolizing their joint efforts and blossoming relationships. John's archive became a cornerstone of the community, with locals eagerly contributing their stories and memorabilia. The initiative sparked a series of educational programs in local schools, where children learned about their heritage through interactive exhibits and field trips. Alex's blog gained a substantial following, connecting Willow Creek's residents with a broader audience and attracting interest from historians and enthusiasts eager to learn more about the town's unique legacy. As summer approached, Willow Creek decided to celebrate its revitalized spirit with an annual Heritage Festival. The event featured music, crafts, and reenactments of significant moments from the town's past, seamlessly blending tradition with contemporary flair. The festival became a beloved tradition, eagerly anticipated each year and serving as a testament to the community's resilience and unity. Amidst the growth, John reflected on the journey. The initial spark from the record player had ignited a movement that bridged generations and healed old wounds. The critical takeaway was clear. By honoring their past, the residents of Willow Creek had built a stronger, more connected future. They had learned that true progress lies in embracing both heritage and innovation, ensuring that every voice is heard and every story valued. As the sun set on the first Heritage Festival, John stood alongside his neighbors, watching the festivities with pride. The twinkling lights mirrored the night they had changed, now a beacon of their enduring togetherness. Willow Creek had transformed into a thriving community where the past and present danced in harmony, promising a legacy of unity and shared purpose for generations to come.